Today, we're going to have a live stream, and it is called The Church of Tomorrow Morning. I have two guests on, Brother Will and Riyadh One. I welcome y'all to the live stream, and we may begin anytime you're ready. Brother?
Good morning, brother. Riyadh One here this morning. Church of the morning. Live on the air. Brother Will, you here?
Yeah, good morning. Brother Will, checking in.
All right, we want to deal this morning with a subject that's real important to our people. Subject of religion. Not served us and what's done, but to serve us better as a people. So there's an article I wrote that I want to expound on some subject matter inside this article. And it starts off as, I began this article with the words from a singing group called The Main Ingredients, where they sing the words, everybody plays the fool sometime. These words should take on biblical proportions when it comes to Black people and their struggle for freedom and human rights in America and throughout the world. As individuals, many Black men and women who are played for a fool learn from their experiences and rectify the situation. But as a people, for over 400 years we have been played for a fool, not sometimes, but all the time. America and its political, social, and economic institutions have all been at the forefront of playing African/Black people for not just a fool, but a damn fool. Here is an example of America's bamboozlement and con game, which has virtually affected ex-slaves from the plantation to modern day. On the subject of religion, white Anglo-Christianity helped build a foundation for the greatest Holocaust in the universe, the enslavement and murder of untold millions of our ancestors. These atrocities and thousands more were done with Bible in hand. Scripture was read on the deck of slave vessels, at lynchings, castration, breeding pens, and they even read the Bible while they raped and tortured Black men, women, and children. The white man taught us that there's nothing wrong with the book, it's how you apply the book. If the last 400 years are any indication of the Bible as a book of salvation, we as a people should write our own Bible. We should concern ourselves with religion and a God that will help and free a people and a nation, not an individual. And getting to the fact that the time is up. We should have a Bible with our own songs, with our own chapters, with our own prophets. Prophets like Brother Malcolm. You should have a place in our Bible. Brother Hewitt, Brother Martin, who Oates, and the list goes on. And the songs can take place with words from our strong women. Even they should have chapters. Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman. Let them tell their story, the story about us. From when we got here and before we got here. It shouldn't be hard for us to rid ourselves and believe in something that somebody gave us on the plantations of America. It has served us already. We don't need it anymore. We need a new way of thinking. We need a book that serves us, take care of our mental and psychological growth as a people. That's why Riyadh One suggests today to all Black people listening, we should create a Bible with our stories. We don't need John, Luke, and these people and all this ancient third words. What God said, we already know what our ancestors went through. And words from what they said, they were living on this earth, they were here. And we experience them, we can see them. You know, we know their words. They live during our our father's time to our grandmother and grandfather's time and great-grandfather and grandmother's time. These are the stories that we should know about. Stories that serve a people instead of individuals. There's a saying that Brother Hugh was reading out a book, and it said that instead of looking up, instead of looking down, all you have to do is look around. We've been looking up and down too long, people, but we never pay attention to what's around us.
I don't even think we take a real good look at ourselves, because it all starts within you. People talk about reading a book, but the book should be already in you. You have a part in you that's greater than what any man or woman can write. It's supposed to be a part of this universe. All this.
Let's look at where this Bible came from. Let's look at where we had the introduction from. The Bible was introduced to African people on the plantation of America. An indoctrination that has no equal. And after more than 100 years of not allowing our African ancestors access to the so-called Holy Book, the slave master succumbed strictly for the use of spiritual and psychological control over his so-called heathenistic souls, our ancestors.
Well, I'd like to comment on that. The Bible might have been introduced to us on the plantation, but its precepts, its structure has always followed the missionary cause. And it was introduced in Africa and all over the globe by Europeans and others, Arabs. They always sent in, somebody for a peaceful talk with you before the military came in there and took over your land, your family, and most of the time took you into slavery. You see, that's been a MO of them for a long time, okay? I can't say too much about the Arab trade because, nobody talks about that too much. They don't even talk about our self trade, okay? Because that happened also. But we have to focus right now on here where we are. But there's a history that we need to know about, and that book was used in that. They even looked for the Ethiopian book so that they could take that and transcribe that and make it their own. It's a good thing that that wasn't gotten, because that proves that that book's history is not what they say it is.
That's why we get back to looking up and looking down.
Yes, sir.
You could be from Ethiopia or whatever and claim to know something that nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's a great mystery. Nobody knows what's up and down. But we do know what's around, and that's nature.
Yeah.
Our families. And that's just beautiful trees and grass and, the stuff that this oxygen in the air and the stuff that we look at every day, the beauty of this wondrous planet. Instead of us taking care of this planet, and instead of destroying it. Today we've got 1,000 churches in every city, but yet and still we live in a place that's full of crime, full of evil, full of contempt for man, hatred, and all kind of other wrongful deeds that, with the amount of religious philosophies and religions, be it from Judaism, Islam, or Christianity, it's proof enough that they don't work not only for man, And the one that we believe in the most, the Christian aspect in the Bible, should be proof enough that it don't work for us.
Certainly not. And on this live and on this platform, we don't want to come from one perspective. Sometimes I'm going to play devil's advocate because I was told by a man that you should not look at something from just your vantage point, your viewpoint. You should see it from another viewpoint also. But any way you look at this, when we talk about organized religion, they talk about spirituality, but they don't explain it. They don't talk about it in reference to where it lies in anybody's faith or belief system. We're spiritual beings. You know, we are trained to be religious beings, but from the get-go, we're spiritual beings. And that's was the basis of our faith and the things that we put into play every day, not only here, but in what I would call the mother country. Now, I don't want to get off into that, but I would like to talk about a little bit about why we got away from spirituality and even came up with something called religion. You see, I mean, if we're spiritual beings, and one of the biggest questions I ever had to ask myself was, you know, why would most of the time you're believing in what a man has written for you to follow that he doesn't follow. It's just like government. It's like laws. These are just spiritual and religious laws, but it's laws that some people who are supposed to be the elite, they break the law every day, but the law was not written for them. Just like the book. The book was not written for the people who gave it to us. How could you have something that you believe in and break that law every day, every minute of the day? The 10 Commandments, the top of the list, thou shalt not kill, but you kill millions.
Thou shalt not kill me. Thou shalt not steal from me. Okay, that was the training that was taught to the subjects and victims of their Bible.
And something else I want to say.
It wasn't meant for.
You're exactly right. It was used as a tool. Okay?
How can a despiritualized person teach spirituality? How can a person that's been despiritualized teach you spirituality and even give a hoot or give a damn about teaching you anything about how the spirit works within man? And we talked about before, me and you, about basically one big human family, you know.
Yes.
The two things that really they use, and that's the things they tell you don't talk about. You know. The things that work money is race and religion. You can look around any hip hop store by using an N-word on our census, race, what color you, all discriminatory things they did in the past, you know, the colored water fountain and these people can't sit here and these people, all this was done because of somebody's race. These people can't go to these schools. These people can't go, even the SEC, which is what Alabama and Georgia, those schools today, that sit there and begs black men, women, and children to come there. I'll say black kids, black youth, to play these sports. But these were some of the most racist institutions at one time in America when it came time just to go get a basic education. You know?
Well,
What was in the spirit of any type of people or any type of religion that these people believed in that was inside of them to act this way?
well,
So you can never have a good spirit or be spiritualized through that type of action. And that's why I suggest that the people with the real spirits, our ancestors who went through this, are the ones to tell us their stories, to give us the kind of spirit that we need to continue to make this world a better place and to heal ourselves, because we need a lot of healing. You know, we learn from these wicked books and these wicked people.
well, I'd like to say that a lot of people don't actually go into, what's in our spirit. They don't even go into our makeup. So they won't know that some things that human beings have put their faith in, and that's that spirit that lies within them. Some people do not have the same type of DNA makeup or even spirituality that we have. See, I watched something last night and it brought to my mind that everything was based on a European concept. And we have to remember that as human beings, we really are just one race, but we strive so hard to try to break humanity up into so many different races because you really do not like the root of your heritage. Now, we all come from the same root, but if I tell you that it's a problem, so I suggest that you do some research so that you could truly find it. But some of the
That's a good point you brought up, because something that we seen the other day. We seen I call brothers on the continent. I call them continental Africans. So we seen a brother claim to be this new thing they come up with called a FBA, which I guess it means Foundation of Black America, talking to a continental African about what's going on somewhere in the Sudan. And this brother, who's the FBA, was actually laughing and mocking this man, talking about, oh, the Sudan has so much poverty and this and that. Who are you to talk to us, the FBAs, about Africa? Take care of your own country and all this type of stuff. And like you just mentioned, not knowing the foundation of all humankind, especially our people, without Africa. Because one thing we don't take into consideration, then they ask, well, how 1 million people come over? There was not that many Africans came over. There was not 10 million or 100 million or whatever numbers. The numbers is, proof is one time they found 17 slaves and dug them up in a cemetery that they was developing and putting homes or something there. And so they did DNA on 17 of them. They found that there's 52, almost 50-some thousand people that came from those 17. But this brother failed to realize that most of us came from those breeding pens. You see, they were breeding plantations. And so in a period of 100 years, if you breed 17 people, and out of 150 years, you come out with 52,000 people just from those 17, just by breeding them. And that's only 17 people. So let's breed 3,000. can see how the numbers grow within 50 to 100 years. And that's one of the most shameful things that a lot of black folks don't want to deal with. And so they claim Indian and everything else because they don't want to deal with what happened on those breeding pens because the majority of them were breeding and came from those breeding pens, you see? And so back in the days when you claimed to be African, that's what they wanted to do, is de-Africanize us anyway. And so you would claim anything to not be African. You would claim to be Chinese, Russian, anything not to be African, you know? So there's a lot of layers to our history here.
Of course.
And like you said before, the foundation of man is that continent that we are talking about, is that continent of Africa.
Exactly.
And we are one big human family.
That's right.
You know?
Now,
So all this race and separation and bullshit, it's time for that. Just like the new Bible, it's time for a new way of thinking. And that's what should be inside this Bible.
well,
To let us do this, for these people to see what they went through, you know, so we can become spiritual beings, so we can become loving beings, so we can learn to respect each other and honor each other, you know? And through learning that, we learn how to honor others. And maybe others will learn how to honor us. Who respects somebody who disrespects themselves? I mean, every time they land a new so-called immigrant people, what they call, you know, when the Vietnamese came here, when whoever, everybody who come here, they teach you before they get off the plane. They got these crazy people over there called, you know, you know, the Indian. Look out for them. They're thieves, you know, they're lazy, they this and that. These people don't know our history. We're not lazy. We're not thieves. We're some of the greatest people that ever walked around on this place called America. Without us, it wouldn't even, basically almost would not even be America as what it is today. So, you know, stop the lies. Because in every culture, in every race of people, in every, you know, nationality, there are people that's rotten and no good. So you just can't pin that on us. And it's like I say about the FBA thing, where brothers say they're not like us. Who is us, bro? So everybody should go get a medal, a bolo button, a pen to put on and have us on it so we can look at, oh, you want us, you know? It's another form of separation and division. Exactly. And they're always trying to find a new way to divide us, you know?
That's been
always, every time we get it together under one umbrella, under one, you know, claiming land, you know, African American, African, anything with Africa on it, they want to get rid of it. But they don't want us to identify with nothing and be selfish, nothing but this little place here, you know, instead of being worldly, universal people. And so whatever going on in Africa, we're supposed to hate Africa, not pay attention to what's going on in Africa, and Africa's supposed to look over here and not pay attention to what's happening to us.
That's the way they want it.
And so then they look in the White House for their friend, who so far to show them, you know. And we need to stop them, like brother Neely Fuller say, you know. If the only way to defeat white supremacy is through doing something constructive. And as long as we're doing something that's constructive, no matter what we do is constructive, that's the way you know, you can get rid of that type of stuff. They know and they hope that we constantly do destructive stuff. What do you say? You ask a question. Brother going somewhere, you say, well, where are we going? Well, how is it going to serve me? Is where we going and what we about to do, is it constructive? And if it's not constructive, well, I'm not going. If it's not constructive, I'm not going to participate in it, you know?
Exactly.
But then anything else that's destructive serves white supremacy. It don't serve us. And the last thing we want to be is some a black supremacist. So the last thing you want.
Going to that point is we have to make a statement here, is that when people look at the DNA of people on this earth, they have found that some parts of humanity have a strain in them, a Neanderthal strain in them. And so that makes me think, because you got to understand how Neanderthals lived and what they had to do to survive. And so, can you actually ask those people to act in a spiritual manner like human beings? Now, most people don't like to hear that. And you need to study up on why they always study the DNA of Europeans. And now they're starting to study the DNA of Africans. Okay? The one group of people who do not have that strain of Neanderthal in them. Okay? Now, I could go on a truth-telling mission here and talk about how the Neanderthal had to live, but I'm not going to do that. It's more important to talk about knowing thyself, because I was
going to interject and let our listeners out there know that I got a time machine that I'm almost finished, that we can go on the time machine and learn a lot of things about what truly happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to sign up for it, go to the website and send some donations for me to get finished my time machine. So we got questions about what took place back, 100,000 years ago. I got it down to those times that we can go back. And if you really so enthused on wanting to know about it, I'm gonna leave you there and I'm gonna come back. You really can see what these Neanderthals, with these different things that these people talk about, what was really taking place. And so you can bring back a case study, or you can bring back a Neanderthal with you.
You might not have to go that far. But
I'm gonna take some of the white scientists with me too. I mean, the machine almost ready. It'll be ready by next year. Like Elon Musk got the ship going up to the rocket. Yeah, I got a time machine that's gonna take you back.
Well, that's a whole nother animal right there. Brother Will.
We can watch the battle of Little Bighorn with the Indians. We can watch all types. A lot of Negroes who saying they were born on Indian reservation. We could go back and see if you was actually coming out the womb on Indian reservation. Yeah. How many slave ships was actually coming over here? For those who don't believe, that's the ones I got to take.
Yeah. Well.
But getting back to what you were talking about, Brother Will, you got anything you want? We can go to some uncovered subject edition. We got some beautiful, at least we got some stuff out the way. And maybe people like it or don't like it. But we just want people to become critical thinkers,
Yeah.
And
I would just say,
go ahead.
the Bible and religion, it's really complicated for us as a people. We've been, like you say, divided and conquered, and it's just so much extreme racism against ourselves now. It seems like the more we so-called gain consciousness, or we use the word today now, we woke, black woke people and conscious black people. It seems like the more and more information we gather about us as a people, it seems like, to me, just from what I can see, is that we're becoming farther and farther separated.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got their own. Everybody have their own story on where they came from, who we are. You know, everybody have a different. It's almost at a point where do we uproot? Where we just start? How can we start? Take all information. Take like Neely Fuller said. Take all the information that we know about ourselves, and we might not have to just completely throw it away, but we can just put it to the side. And at what point are we as people are going to be able to come anew? Like you said, if we're going to write our own Bible, who's going to be in charge of that? You know, we got so many so-called philosophers and educators and black leaders, and that, you know, we all coming from different angles and different perspectives. And like you said, Brother Hill, we all come from one root, from one source. You know, we all know that we're just human. We're just a human race. But since us as a people, black people, you know, we got the 5%ers, we got the Muslims, we got the, you know, brothers, the Moors, you know, we have the, and at what point, I mean, it seems that we're just separated and we can't agree on nothing.
That's not by accident.
We all realize that we should be able to agree on one thing, that we all have a common enemy.
And that's why I started with the Bible, brother. We looked at that word Bible scare people, you know. Bible, you hear it, Bible, you know. So maybe you saw it there, you know, and something you said. Well, who's gonna write it? Who's gonna put it in place? You know, who's gonna, you know, what, you know, how are we going? Well, that's what we're doing right now. We plant the seed for that, you know. Yeah. Maybe some young person hear that. Maybe they tired of seeing their mother and father, or whoever, just their mom going to church every Sunday being abused. You just had a man tell me, I lock the doors on the church, you know. Mm-hmm. You got people in there, they lock them in there. You're not leaving until you give me $40,000, you know. And that's been going on. Some don't lock the doors. But one thing that I see in that is that, you know, you have to, when you got sheep, literally sometimes, you know, you got to corral your sheep, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's all he's doing. He just corralling them. And some of them love it. Wow. You know, it was some of them, nobody tried to leave. All of them standing up there like, yeah, you know. Did you see anybody leaving? Mm-hmm. Well, that happens every Sunday. Mm-hmm. Every Sunday, nobody leaves. And they just go on and give because they're paying for their spot in heaven. They're paying, bribing, they're trying to bribe God. There you go.
Actually been just kidnapped.
Yeah, you know, God. I mean, when they get up there, they claim when they get up there, God, I gave you $100,000. You know, why you know, I'm supposed to have a better spot over here than you gave me one wing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing about you're talking about sheep. Well, that's representative, and you know. What I'm looking at, and it's becoming apparent to me that the church actually operates, seem like, on the same principle as the government. Because if you look at it right now, sheep are sheep. And Americans have to take a look at themselves in a biblical aspect or religion. And then we have to look at ourselves as American being governed by a government who's treating us like sheep also. Nobody wants to talk. This is the church of tomorrow morning. And we don't claim to have the answers to anything, but we have our truth. And nobody's speaking for us. We're going to speak for ourselves. And we know for a fact that the media, and all types of media, has been designed to attack us, to make us doubt ourselves. You know, they put this premise that black is bad, white is good. Everybody knows it, but nobody wants to talk about it. Okay, and this is our truth. Okay, so you don't have to take it. All you have to do is listen. But you know, a lot of people in religion right now, I heard a term say, I'm too far gone. You know what that meant? I've been doing this for so long, son, don't ask me to change.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
I can't help myself. I'm gonna do this. I know what it's doing to me. But you see, I got all my friends over there. I gotta do just like them, the other sheep. I gotta follow the sheep. I don't know how to do no other way. And sometimes we become mental slaves.
You know the key. You forgot to say the key word, the words. Everything you said was true, but it's too late for me.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So you could
so us as a people, so that's what I had just kind of piggyback on that. I had just said that earlier. Like, if we've been conditioned for so long, not individually, but as a people, if we've been conditioned so long, at what point, for so long we've been conditioned to look, we didn't use the past, we didn't use the future. You know, we looking everywhere where we were told not to look. And we ain't never looked inside of ourselves.
Exactly.
To find God. And that's what God is at. Mm-hmm. And each and every one of us, either living or dead, but we haven't used that we haven't turned on that thought process yet. You know, some of us are, because I didn't hear brothers say, you know, we call each other God. What's up, God? You know, but that's only a small handful of us. We talking about us as a people, because man, we talk about how white folks got this weak dominant gene where they ain't gonna be able to last on the earth that long. But it appeared to me that we ain't gonna last that damn long on earth the way we killing each other. And we killing each other at an alarming rate. And I'm not just talking about physical. You know, I'm talking about mentally, spiritually, psychologically. We just F over each other. And that is something that needs to be, like you said, brother said, we gotta, you know, we plant the seeds right now, but the seeds that we plant, it's always someone coming, step on them when they start sprouting. It's like you said, anything that we do as a people that's constructive, when we see that it's good for us as a people, somehow, some way, it gets torn down or gets destroyed. It seems like the world is so backwards and so upside down that the destructive things that we do to ourselves, we don't only even do it because of self-hatred. Man, we do these things, man, because we just need to plain survive and take care of our family. Destructive stuff that we do today are almost necessary in order for us to survive and feed ourselves. Right? Let me give you an example. It was destructive, like you said. After 10 decades of unadulterated sexual deviance, torture acts, gut wrenching murders, and unwanted rapes, our ancestors were devastated mentally and spiritually. At that point, they needed a God. They needed a Jesus, a John, a Luke, and especially a Moses. They would torture and brutalize of their own gods and prophets. So to hear, think, and believe in any form of salvation was necessary for their survival. So we're not knocking our ancestors for that. I mean, somebody was sitting up, just a prime example of the movie Roots, when that dude started getting whipped. They whipped him. He said his name was Kunta Kinte. Man, they beat that man so down. He finally said, I'm Toby, man. He was broken. So we as a people, we're broken people.
Thank you, brother.
We're broken people, man.
Thank you.
So it's like, and we just keep going into this. The more broken we become, the more so-called we become woke. And that's just like it's dangerous, man.
Yeah.
It's like feeding a.
Who is it dangerous for?
It's a dangerous thing to arouse an evil spirit. We thinking we on that woke conscious stuff, but all we did was just taking on the ways of what's been done to us. Everything about them people, we done became.
Yeah. Me and brother, you talked about that yesterday in depth. You know?
But let me ask you a question.
I think that's in that article also. We have become like our biblical teachers. You know, brother?
But, but let's say this. You said something that was very key in that, to know thyself, okay? Nobody needed to look outside of themselves back in the slavery times. You think that they needed a God. They already had it. What they were done to was that they were made to believe in something that they had no, they really didn't know anything about. It's easy to believe in a fantasy.
Yeah. It was foreign to us.
It's easy to believe in a fantasy when you don't know whether it's true or not. You see, because you could think it's this great, this great savior, okay? And you could believe what Toby believed when he was beaten to the point that he accepted anything that man was ready to give him. And let us be clear about something. And that's a great point you made, Will. But a lot of times, as broken people, a lot of times we have not been fully annihilated. We don't know ourselves, and the part that we do know we hate. We've been taught that way. You see, conditioned, okay? And one of the things that I want to make sure that we focus on is that we look like we are broken, battered, defeated people. But on the other side of that, why is it so important to put the woke community in its place? I've never heard the president, why would the president be worried about woke people? Why is anybody worried about woke or conscious people?
Well, let's go with Neely Fuller say, brother. If you understand white supremacy / racism, everything you think you know will only confuse you.
Exactly.
So that's the premise of that.
Yeah.
And that's how powerful white supremacy is, because it controls everything. And now let's get back to the aspect of why the black man who's supposed to be responsible for building and uplifting the community, his family, and his people, and his wife, and everything else. What happened to the cowardice? Why we can't admit that we cowards and get out of that coward type, the coward type actions that we do every day as men? Like Neely Fuller said, you a man to your woman, or to another black man, and talking about you're a man, but to him you're nothing. And it's true, because anybody who fess up to tell that man, I'm a man, and he tell you what he gonna do to you. So we look in the White House today, you don't hear no protest. You don't see no black. They even on the internet today, talking about, they got a march on the 5th, don't go. They know better than to go because they're cowards, because they're scared, because they know the man who in the White House don't play with them. You see? They know what he'll do to them. That's what cowards do. Cowards ain't going to stand up and protest against that kind of white man. But then they don't talk about, a Kennedy or one of the passive beside white folks who kind of, claim they play, what they call two ends against the middle and act like they for you. Them fence-straddling white people. I'm going to give you a little social program. I'm going to give you crumbs off the table. Now, this man don't play. He ain't giving you nothing. He's taking from you. And whatever you do, he's going to tell you, I'm going to do it, and you're going to deal with it. It ain't such thing as you like it or not. I'm going to do it, and so even his own people scared of it. This is a Nazi Germany regime. This is something that, and a black man, no matter who was in office. I look in the NFL, I think I talked to you about this before. I look in the NBA and all these sports, and all these 6'8", 6'4", 6'6", big old black men. Big old giant behemoth black men, What type of mindset do they have? You could control somebody like that. And all they do is run around playing sports. But then when they're the most docile, type of people run around instead of standing up and lining up against and defending their women and defending their community and telling young black men, hey, bro, that music you playing, you ain't going to play that no more. Hey, those guns you carrying in our community, my man, you ain't going to do that no more. You see, these big old brothers now, they protect the line, they protect the quarterback every Sunday. But they don't stand up to protect the community. The number one place you can find in America right now is a gym, a weightlifting centers, They on every corner now. Brothers there pumping iron and shit, coming out there getting big to look good for a woman. But they ain't worried about getting big to protect their community, to protect their families, because 70% of them ain't even with their family. The women raising them by themselves. And now they done got there and started separating, dividing our women and teaching them all kind of other foolish actions, like got social media, which I call unsocial media. And like Brother Will said, with every negative form of action, nothing positive, nothing constructive, and all day they're feeding this foolishness to the youth. Because that's who tuning in. But they never tell you, and the media never shows you, nothing but negative things about us. But they got 100 universities, I always mention this, called HBCU, Black College, and they don't show not one graduating class on the news. Not one graduating class on no social media site. Even the Negroes who got all the social media sites never show nothing positive on there and say we got a graduating class from Jackson State. Just look how proud we are, people. Look what we're coming up at. And this is just the HBCU, you see? And then it's somebody inventing something or some young kid doing something, some kid playing violin or doing this, anything positive, anything with constructive. You don't see none of that. We don't bask in that, but we bask in foolishness every day. Anything that divides us. Look at him over there. Oh, this African, and they coming over here, and this brother over here, what his name is, he ain't built the school yet, and this one over here doing this, and oh, look at him in this kind of car, and oh, look at him, the greatest rapper. Who's the greatest rapper? Him or them, and anything that causes division and confusion. That don't even make no sense to the mass of the black people. Nobody care about the entertainment industry no more. I mean, them people belong to those folks. What if one black man get rich? Who gives a shit? Who cares about that? What is he doing for the community? What is he doing for the people? And like I said, he's big old, overgrown, buffed up, 6'8". And I think they probably used him on the plantation to keep everybody in line.
He did.
Because they sure act like that's what they're doing today. Just like they protect the quarterback, just like they sit there and protect the quarterback, they sit there and protecting the system that keep everybody else in check, especially their own people.
Modern day gatekeepers, huh?
Yes, indeed.
And you gotta understand. You gotta understand something too, is that when money came into play, you see, I can't understand one thing. If the origin of man started in Africa, and we know that all races are connected somehow. So you ask yourself, how did we become the children of our children when we were the parents of our children. You see, and that's where I'm going to go with that. Even though we're broken people in a lot of ways, and they pour out their media, they pour out their venomous talk against us and everything else, and a lot of times what we fail to see is, why is there such a concerted effort to keep us down? And I know why. You know, out of the ashes, the phoenix rises. You understand? And right now, even though it looks bleak out there, I'll tell you something. That spirit that we talk about is pumping blood, and it's actually, it's a movement, it's a quiet movement. But a lot of us have not given up. A lot of us are tuning into ourselves. It's just not enough. And I'll tell you something. What's happening to us, especially in the United States, may be bad and good at the same time, because people taking things from you and showing you hate sometimes force you together. Okay? And guess what else? Now we get a chance to see how other supposedly communities are going to turn on each other, because see, now they're taking away from not just blacks, they're taking away from everybody. Okay? And so now there's no choice. You may not want to get out there on the street and protest and do a lot of things, but you can't afford not to have your Social Security check or your annuities, or you can't afford for them to take over your money in the bank. You can't afford for them to take food out of your mouth.
Just like money thing, that I don't know, it's just the money thing, man. It's when you can just look at our people, man. I mean the most famous of us, the most richest, you know, the most revered to be, you know, it's just like an example when Oprah was over in some other country doing some shopping, and a lady came over there and asked if she needed any help, and told Oprah that she didn't have enough money to be in that store shopping. And this is Oprah Winfrey. And then there was another brother, I forgot his name. He was driving down the street and got pulled over, got thrown on the ground, every damn thing. I mean, this is big time, brother.
That was Henry Louis Gates.
Henry Louis Gates. Yeah. And just even if you look at all the sports, I mean, just at the end of the day, man, it's kind of like they still got a way of just letting you know you ain't nothing but a nigga. At the end of the day, and you can have billions. You know what I mean? You can be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you know, just whoever. And you just, at the end of the day, you ain't nothing but a nigga. You control your money. And I remember this brother breaking down money. He said there's 3 kinds of money in this world. It is, and we need to understand this, the difference. There's old money, suggesting ownership of dignity, new money for the purchasing of dignity, and then nigger money for which dignity is not for sale. And if that is not a prime example of what we live in today, I don't know what it is, because it's not really about money, even though we need money. Everybody needs money, man. This country and everything is based on money. Yeah, we all need money. We need it badly. We need it. But at the same time, we've gotten to the point where we settle, we agree to be treated like anything just to keep that money. Because we're scared of losing what we got.
And that's gonna keep
You
us
know,
close
we're
apart.
scared to lose. We're scared of losing the material things. And like you said, I mean, just sometimes material things aren't what they appear to be.
That's right.
Those are the things that just they dangle that in front of your face to keep you doing what you're doing.
Exactly. And
And
what
it's just it's sad, but at the same time, it's challenging. It should be motivating. It should be, because at the end of the day, we as the people is going to take each individual in order to come. So if you want to change the world and change certain things that we don't like, we got to change yourself. We got to change ourselves individually. We got to change the way that we think. We got to change the way that we, you know what I mean? And we got to change our actions and stuff. And then you'll be able to change the world because your environment going to change once you as an individual change. Because there's certain things that you're not going to accept that come around you. Stupidness, foolishness, dumbified conversations and shit. You know, when people come around you, they'll see that they're not even able to entertain you with that because you're going to quickly get away from them or educate them.
And if you were a man and stayed with your family, those things you talk about could be implemented in your household.
Yeah.
and,
And so the worry about everybody else. We sit there and straighten ourselves out first. And I was looking at a situation with, say, we spend our money with people, and the people don't do nothing for us to spend all these billions of dollars with them. Take example for Nike. We stand in lines for the tennis shoes and all that kind of stuff. We done made this man a trillionaire. But yet we don't ask for a dime back. We got grown black men sitting there and hundreds of Nikes on the shelf in the house. Nike. But now, since we see how economics work and we were educated on economics, what we should do now is boycott Nike. You see? Hurt Nike in the pocket and tell Nike, well, let me tell you what you need to do. We got some playgrounds in our neighborhood need to be fixed. We got some teams over here that don't have uniforms and youth football. We got schools, that we want to build and teach alternative education. That's not only going to serve our people, it's going to serve the world. You see? And they're going to be schools based on, humanistic aspects, schools based on nature teaching and stuff like that, instead of a lot of this crap, unnecessary stuff that people have to learn about this world. Yeah, we got a lot of things we can do to ask these people who've been exploiting us, matter of fact, while we exploit ourselves. Yeah. Boycott them.
of course.
From them, their needs. When they wake up in the morning, like the churches tomorrow morning, well, tomorrow morning they won't have us spending a dime with them. But you go ask a brother to do that, he gonna come to you and wanna, I ain't doing it. You crazy, I'm putting them Nikes on tomorrow and all that stuff. I seen a brother with a big gold cross on his neck, Big gold cross. And I say, damn, brother, what's that represent? And it's just like if somebody, this is where Jesus died, I say, whoa. I said, well, if your brother got shot with an AK-47 bullet, that means you gonna put an AK-47 bullet around your neck? To honor his death with the bullet that shot him? There's all kind of weird stuff happening. We're getting off of that, getting back to the economic aspect. There's a lot of things we need to do and check ourselves on how we spend our money and who we empower and who we enrich with the money that we do have instead of enriching and empowering ourselves. A lot of money could do better for how to feed our children, how to go buy a set of books or buy something that, dealing with education. But we go do foolish things, both our men and our women.
We have never been taught.
What you said, because we're foolish people.
Yeah.
Well,
And we just dealt today with religion, but next week we're going to deal with, and we added some of it on today. We're going to focus on economics, we're going to focus on politics and things like that. And that's the thing you always tell, man, whatever you do, don't discuss religion and politics. And you got to ask yourself why. You see?
because
Why?
knowledge is power. And
Thank you.
I want to get back to something before we close out, because closing out as broken people is not an option. Let me tell you, and give you a little bit of my truth. You see, we were given a name, and a lot of times people will say nigger, but the first niggas was white, European, okay? No, see, I'm gonna be real with you. Most of you knew about the Black Plague, you see, because a fraud was perpetrated on us. The whitewashing of history and taking us and writing us out of history, but all of a sudden now you want to dig around in the ground and everything that you dig up come up black. And so you have no choice. You want to play around with the DNA, and for centuries probably you've been focusing on European DNA, and now all of a sudden you had somebody take a look at the African DNA, and oh my goodness, the genes of gods, okay? So remember one thing, that word was meant to be for somebody else. And what they did was they became kings and gave that name to the kings. See, one of the things I wanted to also say is that when they talk about slavery, there was a history before slavery. And since everything started in Africa, you have to understand that those people migrated to every part of this world. That history has been hidden from you. There is no group of people that is supposed to be superior to any other group of people. This is humanity. Okay? And one of the things about humanity is that if you don't allow yourself, like J.A. Rogers did, to be actually bamboozled, and you look at just what science tells us, that we all are the same root, and that we should be treating each other with respect, but we know why people come at people of our color, our supposedly community, because they have to keep us down because they don't want us to rise back up. And I will tell you this, you can give him back his name, you can give him back all of the atrocities and everything he's given you, but you can't do it alone. And as long as you could be bought and sold, see, because you're being bought and sold right today. Because all you have to do is wave some money in your face and you sell out. It happens in the church, it happens in government, it happens even in our own households and communities. You are not what they told you you are. Know thyself, and this community and this world will change. We are up over 1 hour. Do y'all have any closing arguments or comments?
I'll go before Brother Will. My closing arguments, what I said before, everything that we talked about is based on the same premise I said that Brother Neely Fuller brought up, that he stand on. And that's the fact that we don't understand white supremacy / racism. Everything we think we know will only confuse us if we don't understand that. And if we're not doing something constructive, and that's what we should make sure from this day on, as individuals and as a people, whatever we do, make sure it's something constructive in your life, in your children's life. Entire family life will change.
Exactly.
Long as it's constructive.
Brother Will.
Well, the topic was, we were hitting on Bible and religion. prophecy I was reading earlier, the foolish people. I just wanted to piggyback on that real quick. And it says, the black man and woman, we should write our own Bible, right, about the experience in America. Our experiences in America, just as Paul, Luke, and John wrote about their experiences in the Middle East and Rome. So our story must be told. It would be for us, by us, in our yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And we understand that it's time for a black nation to grow spiritually. So we really do need to give the white man back his Bible and create our home.
That's
Right.
100%.
Give him back his Bible and create our home. That's a nice little.
Yes.
Well, I have one last thing, and we're going to close this out. Push forward humanity. How do we do that when we have corruption now and Project 2025 later? We got a sick cycle of abuse that this country's people has endured and is still experiencing. One way to do that is to not be bought and sold. I believe the first commodities on the stock exchange was us. But you know, we can make a choice now. And I'm gonna tell you, we're miseducated asking to be unrelated to the very country that human beings were evolved and elevated and ill-fated, hated and castrated by Adam. But one thing that we don't want to do is castrate ourselves in our community. But we keep doing that. The one thing that scares everybody in this world is if people of color come together. And that people of color is humanity. Church of Tomorrow Morning, thank you for listening.